Welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
I am Michael.
I'm John.
And I am Andrew.
And welcome to season number 2, episode 51.
Season number 2.
Hey, we got some good news, big news too. Yeah.
We do. So season number 2 comes with, I mean, this has been coming for a little while. Everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's thought we've been part of the Cross the Stream network. But we officially are now a part of the Cross the Streams network, or Cross the Streams media. I know the Dorksmen have talked about it for I want to say 2 months, and mentioned that we were part of it, but we haven't been until now. We are now part of them. So we're going to, lots of growing that we're going to do over the next year. We got a whole year in without it. Just doing this ourselves, but now we've got kind of partners, real official partners. I know we had everybody in the Nerds Unite network, but we got some real official partners doing some things, and so maybe we'll see some good stuff, and we'll talk about that more about that towards the end when we do our shout outs at the end, and everything and all the cool stuff that we're going to get with that. But for now, John, how can people find us?
All right. Check our website out at toyrewindpodcast.com. You can email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Look us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. It's all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. Stay tuned for our Toy Box showcases. We put them on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch as well. And then if you're listening to these, have fun and play some games with the podcast bingo at podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind, and see if you get a bingo. Let us know. Send it to us. We'll send you some stickers or something.
We had a bingo last week.
Yeah.
And actually, as we did our 50th, our live, we had a bingo from Ed. He sent it off to us and showed us. And so I guess I need to send him some more stickers. We got a few new ones I think we should probably send to him.
Do you have any stickers?
I don't have any. That's why I didn't get any in his prize pack. But I still have the record sheets that I have to send him, so we can add some in there.
Yeah.
So
I think I ended up with all the stickers.
You did. Ed and Jess are going to end up with some stickers. We'll probably drop some in for Manny and Joey also, since they've got stuff coming to them also. So awesome. Along with those, John, we do have to edit your notes now that I look at it. We have to add in the Cross the Streams crossthestreamsmedia.com. That's the website. You can catch all of our stuff there also. We'll be posting basically to both websites because we're not going to add our toy rankings to Cross the Streams. It's just going to be on our site. So if you want to see our toy rankings, that's where you need to go. So, and we had a lot of fun last week with 50, and we found out where Michael's number one forever and ever toy line is. So no more number one. So anything that we come up with, John, will just be, number 3 and better, because I don't think anybody's beating Johnny Lightning for Michael either. So
right.
With our collector showcase, we do have we're gonna have one coming up. We're trying to get a date together, but we're gonna have Robbie Juice on doing some in the box collecting talking. So that'll be fun. I think he got a bunch of stuff at FunCon this past week. And I wonder if he's actually even going to look at any of it, or if it just stays. How does he see some of it? Because I know the gold pins are encased in a box inside of the box. So I don't know how he's going to see that. It would be interesting to see how he's going to do that and how he displays that stuff
inside of a box. So he doesn't even open the outside box.
Well, I know there are some things that he gets that he will cut the plastic that it's in.
Yeah.
He'll cut that on a flap and then slide it out so he can see it, and then he puts it back into the plastic.
So does he put on the little white gloves and everything?
I don't know if he ever gets that far. We're gonna have to talk to it. Like
We'll
that's
have
gonna be.
to ask him. That's some good questions. Yeah.
Yeah, like he is above he's probably the craziest in the box collector that I know. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going. Also for our toy box showcases, I have a few things coming that I'm going to be happy to show off coming from the BIM toy collection of Tiny Ghosts. So I got a case. I ordered it today, so I should have it next week. Hold on, Michael. We'll get there. I ordered a case of 12 mini blind bags of the Tiny Ghosts. So we're going to have that. So that'll be fun. And then Michael's got this awesome. I don't even know what all this thing is.
I don't know. I found this at Target for $9.99. It says it's a bag, and it says Pop Culture Blind Bag, over $25 worth of toys and collectibles, only for $9.99. So I don't know. The first bag I grabbed, it felt like I had like a plush doll or toy or something in there. This one, I thought it might have it's had something a little bit stiffer, and I thought it was a action figure, but the little box that I thought the figure was in moves. So I think it's like a magazine or some kind of book, and then there's a square box at the bottom of the bag too. So, so I don't know what's in there. We're gonna find out. It is this is a NECA. It's a NECA product, so
Interesting.
something decent. So our next toy box showcase, which I hope will be here pretty soon, we'll open this up and see what's in there. I have no idea.
Yeah, I want to see what's in there. I might have to go see if I can pick me up one.
And if it's anything good, I'll pick up another bag and see.
Yeah,
for another show.
That could be interesting. Like,
it seems pretty cool. Yeah,
I like the fact that it's some pop culture stuff.
Yeah, and it's all kind of 80s retro looking. So it has a cassette tape on the front, boombox on the back, picture of boombox, and it's got Totally Rad and what else is on there? Great, it's great value, but Radical Surprises Inside, only $9.99. So
and you got it.
Yeah.
You got it at Target.
I got it at Target. Yeah, I found it at Target.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go try to find me one. I want one. John, you got to go get one too.
All right.
That's how it's gonna work. We got to get one so we can open them all up and have some fun with that. So with that,
bad if we get the same ones.
I mean, you
Well,
know,
you can
last
kind of
time,
feel what's in there. So if I tell you I got something big, rectangular, like a book type thing in a little square box, then you can find something else that doesn't.
try.
Is
Not
there
to
a number on the bag? So we know what number not to get.
We don't even know what's in it. Like what could be in it.
I'm just saying if there's,
I don't see anything that would kind of tell you what's. There is a number on the bag, but it's part of the. It's probably just the designation for the bag itself. It's right above the barcode, but I don't see nothing that tells you that could tell you what's anything different. So it's probably all random stuff.
Kind of like the Monopoly pieces, you know?
I was about to say, last time we did a blind thing, you ended up with a whole collection of Monopoly pieces over there, John. So who knows? This could be the next thing that adds to your collection.
Hey, I've been looking for still trying to figure out the sodas and see if there's anything.
I don't think there's any way.
Not.
There's no way to know the sodas.
Yeah.
They keep it
everything on my soda cans are identical.
Yeah, they keep it completely blocked out. So, all right, here we go. It is time for our fun for all question. Just a little fun, so we can have anybody new that's listening to us, that's come to us through Cross the Streams. This is just a time that we like to answer a little question, let you get to know us a little bit. This is usually a fun question, kind of crazy, kind of weird. Sometimes
fun
we get,
for all.
Yeah, sometimes we get deep, but not all the time, not usually. So this week's question, this is kind of I thought about this one based off of some of the latest news, with Jeff Bezos going to space and the Olympics and, like hockey season and basketball season are getting ready to ramp back up. So I thought, here's a good question. Would you rather be a professional athlete or an astronaut, and why? So Michael, as tradition with the Brothers Newland and, 30 some odd years of us, being around together, you get to go first.
Okay. Let me think about that. I'd be an athlete.
You'd be an athlete. What would you play?
I don't know.
You can't say baseball.
I can't say baseball.
Bench warmer don't count.
I would be a professional cornhole player.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't take a drink right before you said that.
Professional cornhole player.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Throw
right.
the beanbag in the hole. Yeah.
And since hopefully we have viewers from all across the country, that is different. There's lots of different names for that game. But cornhole, that sounds good. John, what about you?
I think I'd choose astronaut. But unlike Bezos and them, I'd like to actually spend more than 15 minutes up there, or if that. But yeah, I would just like to get out there and actually see how much space actually looks like.
How much
big it is.
Send me pictures when you're up there.
John, you could just go to the internet and download pictures and send them to Michael. He wouldn't know any different.
Yeah, but I would, because I wouldn't be floating around,
Right.
There's also a NASA channel. You can watch the NASA channel.
Yep.
I think I would want to be the first hockey player in space. I got to go with both.
Being a professional athlete, you can make enough money to do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can at least try to be on Bezos's good side and hit him over the head when he tries to go on it, and I'll just take his spot or something.
Again, you're only going to spend a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
I got to be back in time for opening game for the game, John. Can't miss the game. So I don't know what I would do. They both it would be. I think it would be fun. Either one takes you away from family, so that's kind of like a downside. But both have good upsides. So I don't know.
All right. So, I mean, talking about this with the sports and stuff, the Olympics. Did y'all watch the closing Olympics ceremony?
No.
I didn't get a chance to see it. No.
I didn't watch any of the Olympics.
It's going to Paris, France.
Yeah.
Well, they did this big symphony-like thing, and it was really cool because I guess it was their national anthem. I'm not really sure what they were playing, but they were all over the place. And then the last few notes were played by an astronaut with a saxophone in space.
That's cool.
Oh, I saw something
It was
about
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah.
I did see something about an astronaut playing the saxophone, but I didn't know what it was about. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
but that was the highlight, I guess, of the closing ceremony.
That's cool. I didn't watch any of the Olympics.
I got some here and there, nothing major.
It was an off year for me.
Every time I tuned in, they were doing the horse jumps and horse riding stuff, and I don't know. I think when I came in and ate, you had that up on one of your TVs up there at the restaurant, and that's and then there was this one where they were running. I thought it was like a marathon type thing, but they would run around the building, the Coliseum, whatever they had there with all the stuff there. And then they would stop and shoot a gun at a target, and then they'd go run again, and they come back and shoot a gun again. I guess to see how well their stamina was after running, if they can still shoot straight.
I feel like that's the story of Jericho. I feel like that's the story of Jericho from the Bible.
Yeah, there you go.
Except they were shooting guns and not screaming.
There was one that one of my guys at work told me about it with the horses they were doing. It was, I don't know, the way he described it, it wasn't your typical horse race or something. So I missed it. I was watching
that one, and there was a horse, and they were doing the jumps. It was doing jumps perfectly, and then it come to one, it just stopped. And so the guy turned him around, and he rode back up to it, and the horse stopped. And after the second time, the guy just said, well, screw it, we'll just go around. So they went around, and he jumped all the other jumps afterwards. It was just that one jump he wouldn't do. So
he didn't like that one.
I guess he didn't like it.
I was like, no.
I don't think I could put my Olympic hopes in a
horse,
in an animal like that can just do whatever it wants to,
Well, we got a question because we were talking about it up at work, and how did all the personal horses get there?
Yeah, they had
thought about that.
They either had to ship them over, or I don't think they could.
They were flown.
I guess they might have flown, but yeah,
they were flown, and they were on very nice airplanes, they had pretty much all this stuff for them and stuff, and they had to go into quarantine before they went into.
Yeah.
I was about to say, did they have to quarantine before they got there?
Yeah, so they left out, I think, 14 days ahead of time.
Yeah,
they were quarantined for 7 in Europe and something.
Yeah, the last Olympics they had, I remember the
Belgium,
horses
or
being
somewhere
there. I
in
never
Belgium.
watched them, but they had the horses and they had the I remember them having to quarantine them before they were able before the Olympics started.
So I did watch. I don't remember where I was at, but I did watch a few minutes of one event, and that was the speed walking.
I missed that one.
And I didn't realize this was an Olympic event. This is like people that go to Canton and walk around Canton because you have to.
Even during the weekday mornings, you get the people speed walking around the mall.
Oh yeah, you go to the mall, you know. But so we were kind of looking it up. There's rules about it. You can't run, you can't jog. You have to stay at a certain speed. So like, my thought is I'd be like right at the end. I would just jog to the end and beat everybody. But no, you have to you'll get disqualified.
If you're all the same speed, then when you get to the end, just kind of leap forward and
Like that guy that I did see some guy dove. He was, I don't know, like the 100-meter or something. And I'm like, those tracks hurt. I don't want to dive into that.
Yes, they do.
Like that's not. I've stepped on those things. They're not fun. So those people are crazy. So all right, well there you go. Michael wants to be
our Olympic episode there.
Yeah, this is our talk about the Olympic episode. We will come back around to that next year when we do the Summer Olympic or the Winter Olympics.
It'll be the Winter Olympics.
See, I'll hockey plays. I'll have more interest in that one.
Yeah,
no.
You got hockey, you got snowboarding. It's way more fun.
With all the opening and closing ceremonies that we've had in the past, especially here lately, this one kind of was not up there for me. But I understand that with COVID and everything, they were trying to do stuff, and I get that. One of the things that I did stick out was in the opening ceremonies, the signs.
Yeah.
They have the swimmers and the stuff. They actually brought that to life on stage and showed how they can make it all with live people and everything. It was actually pretty interesting to watch. That would be something if you get a chance to, especially you, Andrew. I think you'd like that.
You're talking about all the opening ceremonies. The one that I remember the most and the one that's like my favorite is Georgia from '96, or Atlanta. I guess it was technically Atlanta. But that's like my favorite. Like it was the best. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's been done any better than that. So that's it.
Yeah, I think with the COVID stuff and it having postponed a year, it kind of to me the hype and stuff kind of died down, and I think if it would have been held on time, it would have been to me it'd be a bigger deal.
I think it would have.
But I think it just kind of fizzled out with the hype and stuff because it was postponed.
Yeah. So
because they had so much advertising and stuff last year coming up, and going back to the toy related thing, Hot Wheels did a line in their main lines. They had a little set in their mainline set that was Tokyo 2020 decorations and stuff, and then nothing happened. So and then this year there was nothing like that for this year. So
I'm sure there's something that we can talk about. But we're gonna have to put this on the list for next year to talk about all the Olympic toys.
Right.
For when the Olympics come out, we're going to have to put that on the list.
I'm sure there's something like that.
I mean, you got to think. There's mascots. There's McDonald's has toys. There's loads of it. It could just be a whole Olympic episode that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And talk about that when we do the 2022 Olympics. So.
And to me, the Winter Olympics seems more exciting than the Summer Summer Olympics do. Yeah.
Way more exciting since they added things like snowboarding and hockey. I mean, I guess hockey's always
even the skiing part is seems bobsledding, stuff like that seems
bobsledding.
Yeah, it's more about speed and stuff. I know there's a lot of running and then the swimming is really what I like. I guess most about the Summer Olympics, but
talking about swimming, I saw a meme the other day and it said, sorry if anybody's listening from Toronto, but if you take the 22 medals that Michael Phelps has won and all of the Stanley Cups that Toronto has won over like the last 2 decades, you'd still have 22 medals.
So there's no cups.
There's no cups. So, but yeah, it was all against Toronto, which kind of makes I don't know, and maybe it was something like that. And I just thought it was so funny because they always get let down. So, all right, I think we got to move on. We got to move on to our toy talk.
Let's go back.
We got to talk about something. We are this week talking about. This is kind of a two-parter because next week we're going to talk about another side of the same kind of line. It's two different lines, but they go together. We're talking about the Lost World of the Warlord from Remco. So this is a very interesting line. I have some funny notes about this, and I'm just going to wait and see if you get there. But yeah, some really funny stuff. So take it away, Professor.
All right, we'll get started with it. So 1982, Remco released a line of action figures of the DC Comics The Warlord. So a little bit of info on the Warlord. It was he first appeared in the comics in 1975. He was a DC comic character, and he got his own series the following year, and had a 133 issue run ending in 1988. So his went from 76 to 88 on his comic book release, which was a pretty good run, especially during the 80s. And that time they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths, stuff like that. And he did get rebooted during that, but then he didn't make it until about 1988, and then he's appeared a few times since then in the comic books. But going back to this line, Remco decided to do some characters for him. This line consisted of 6 different figures, 2 of which were not even from the Warlord. So they had 6 figures, but only 4 of them, or actually 3 of them, were from the Warlord. 2 were from 2 other different DC comic books, and then the last one was just somebody they made up just to be a companion to the Warlord. So these guys were molded similar to Masters of the Universe, the Motu figures. They were 5.5 inches tall and were made not to compete with Motu, but to be played with Motu. And they were very similar. They had similar stances and stuff like that. A couple differences was the way the legs connected were on a ball joint instead of the little rubber band type thing like Motu had.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to completely copy Mattel, so but even on their card backs and stuff like that, they said compliments or to be played with Masters of the Universe. Trying to find, I had a card up here where it says it. But yeah, it says right on the card that you could play plays with Warrior Beast, Masters of the Universe, Black Star, and other 5.5 action figures. So this company is not really, Remco's not saying buy our toys and nobody else. They're saying ours plays well with these, so buy ours to expand your universe or something, your toy box universe, something like that. It's kind of what their thinking was. So, let's see that you, like I said, you had 6 figures. You had Travis Morgan, which was the Warlord. You had Demos, which was the Master of Black Magic. He wants to rule Skitaris, which was the world that the Warlord was in. And then you had Makist, which is one of the Warlord's companions. And then you have Mikola Rostov, which is another friend this is the guy that wasn't even in the comic books. It's just somebody that came up and decided just to have a 6 instead of 5 characters. They had to have 6. So, and then they added Hercules, which was from the Hercules Unbound comic book series. And then Eric, which is from Eric, Son of Thunder comic book series from DC Comics. So they kind of mix 3 different comic books into this one set. So these all came with one or two weapons, as well as a piece of clothing that they came with them. So the Warlord, he came with the sword. Most of these weapons they had also were released over multiple figures,
Yeah.
and even multiple lines. They had some other lines that came out too a little bit afterwards, and they had the same. So Remco kind of reused the same weapons for other characters. So so the Warlord, he had a sword. McKeast had a knife and an axe. He had a sash and a belt. And what was kind of, they didn't just use the weapons; they actually used the figures themselves in other lines. So Remco had a line that came out later that was the AMA wrestling line. So McKeest's head was actually used on the referee Curly Brown. So if you get the Curly Brown character, referee character, you've got the McKeest head. It's the same head sculpt. So, which was kind of they're just it's a smaller company. They got to find ways to save money. So that's what they did. Demos came with the crystal ball, black robe, and then a silver mesh belt. And Mikola, he came with a bow, a staff, a robe, and a red belt. And also, his head was reused later on a referee from AMA line, which was Nasty Ned, is that character's name, that referee's name.
But he had two different versions of the head.
Yeah, that's two variations. You had he had black hair with a white stripe down the middle of his hair, and then you had one that had brown hair. The brown haired head was the one used on Nasty Ned. So then you had Eric, the Son of Thunder. He came with a knife, an axe, and a loincloth. There was two variations as well on this one. The first variation, he had white bracelets with red markings, and then his second variation came with yellow bracelets, and he had a vest instead of a loincloth instead of that. So, and then Hercules, he came with a staff and a gold rope. There's two variations on him as well. The first variation had red and yellow bracelets, and then the second one had red and a dark red bracelets. So, so that's basically the six figures that came out in this. And then they also brought these figures out in a War Team 2-packs, which consisted of a Mighty Stallion. So this horse figure that they came out with, and they were all described as, you had the Mighty Stallion and you had the War Man. And they had three different stallions. There's a white one, a brown one, and a dark brown one. And all six figures came with a horse, but you could get any combination of what color horse you had with each character. So there was different combinations of the packs that you can get. They didn't come with all white or all brown. That you could get a white or brown or dark brown, whatever in the packaging. So they just threw in whatever color horse they had at the time with the figure. So, and then the horses, they actually had like a little head armor plate that went over their head, their faces, their noses, and then
it was a little disturbing.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy looking on the horses. Yeah. And then they had saddle blankets, and the blankets were all different too. So you can get any combination color of horse, and then any combination of color blanket that came with the horse. There was a white with black spots. There was a blue and white striped blanket, and then there was a red blanket with like little black trim on the side of it. So that was the War Team 2-pack. So there, like I said, there was 6 different ones, but then you cut any combination color of horse and blanket comes with it. So if you're a collector, then I don't know if anybody collects these, but if it was something you wanted to collect, you can kind of all kinds of combinations out of just 6 figures, So there's also, I guess, with play sets with this as well, they really only had it was called the Warpult, which was a big catapult on wheels. You had 2 variations. You had a light brown with kind of a white sides for that held catapult part, and there was a dark brown one with gray or silver sides that held the catapults. And this also included a stand-up cardboard backdrop that came with it. So I guess you can use your catapult to shoot your little plastic rocks at the cardboard backdrop. So
Yeah.
And then one last piece for this line was Journey Through Time playset. I looked and looked and couldn't find nothing but maybe a picture of it.
I couldn't even find a picture.
There was not really much information on this. So they are pretty hard to, I guess, pretty hard to find. But the playset itself came with like the front door of a castle type thing. It had a wall with a door on it, and then like a castle door, and then there was another wall with the throne connected to the wall. So you had a front door, you had a throne, and then you had a smaller catapult, and then some kind of cage. I was looking at this cage in the picture I had. Yeah, that's the picture I was looking at. So
Yeah.
And there's also like a little well looking thing too, or I don't know if it's like a fireplace, a fire ring or something. But if you look at that cage, if you look at Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that looks like that cage that you put the person in, you drop down into the lava. So that's what that cage looks like.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I know where he's going with this.
So yeah, so you just chant your little chant while you're sticking your figure in it, I guess. But that's really all that is on this line. It's just crazy. Just some cheap stuff that Remco put together, and you wanted to play with your Masters of the Universe figures, and you could throw these guys with them. So
I did see there was one other, or technically three other things, just cheap water guns that they.
Oh yeah. So they had some little water guns.
A blue one, a red one, and a yellow one. They're just kind of labeled for Hercules, Eric, and Warlord, basically. So those are kind of cool, interesting little things. So
and really, you figure they would pull more out of the Warlord comic book, the figures and stuff, because there was a whole line of figures, a whole line of characters in that, but they decided to pull one character from another comic book and then another character from another, and they just added some totally random person to be a friend just to have 6 figures. So, which is, it's just crazy.
You gotta have 6 figures. So you had the little facts that I had found, the ones that they're shared heads from the what is it, the All-Star Wrestling line, from Remco.
And
I think
they brought that out just to go along with your WWF wrestlers when they came out.
Yeah. So the fact that they used Mikola's head for Nasty Ned, but they didn't paint his fangs, that makes me. That makes me laugh. I did find this as I was looking through some other stuff. So this is a newer He-Man. It's I don't know if it's a Super 7 figure or not, but it is the new He-Man kind of figure. It's got way more articulation. But here's a Warlord that's done the same way with him. So it kind of makes me hope that somebody's redoing these figures, because these are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Almost looks like the same body, just painted differently.
So the only difference,
It looked like He-Man was holding a gun.
He kind of, it's his axe. It's just
it's the way
the angle it's standing. Yeah.
The only thing,
why is he holding a gun?
The only thing for me that makes it look like it's a little different are his arm pieces, are his cuffs, his wrist cuffs.
Yeah, Warlord's a little taller, and his legs are longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, like the his loincloth or whatever fur cloth thing he's got on,
that could be shaped differently when they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. If you look at the muscles, everything, it all looks.
They do look very similar. I just, I can't quite tell. It could be. Who knows? But it'd be nice to have these like that. They look like they'd be fun to play together. and have them. So I found out some prices. Did you either one of you see how much these things sold for? Because the price
the pictures
that
I see
found,
have like Toys R Us stickers for $297.
okay, that's what I was going to say. That's what I found, but I couldn't tell if it was legit or not.
And then they had a mark. This one, the one I'm looking at now, has a markdown of it says new price $1.48. So that was on Hercules card.
So
the Eric card here, figure that I'm looking at here, has a sticker from Roses. And I think it's a department store, I believe, and it's a $297 is what that one was too.
Yeah, so it's basically $3. If you
$297
in 1982, that's basically $8.50 today. So
yeah,
actually still well priced.
Yeah,
there's lots of stuff you can't get that.
Yeah.
For collectability online through eBay, a lot of these you can find out there for not terribly a lot of money. I found a Hercules that was carded for about 200, and an Eric that was carded for 182. I found a Warlord that was complete but not carded for about 40. And then, which is a pretty good price considering that I also found Warlord's his wings, that just the wings that go inside of his helmet, for 20.
Yeah, they said the wings on the top, on the side of his helmet would break off pretty easily. And then they have little tabs on them where you can glue them back into his helmet, but those were easily broken off and lost. And then his cape, he has, if you get a replacement cape, you have to actually take his head off to put the cape on, because there's not a hole in it to come off. Yeah, it's just the hole that goes around his neck is smaller than his head, so you have to actually pop his head off to get the cape on and off. So,
did you mention
damage the head?
Right, which can damage the head. Yeah. Michael, did you mention the? Is it how do you say machist? Sorry,
McKeist. Yeah, I watched the video and the guy kept pronouncing with a K sound. McKeist, something like that. Yeah,
that was McKeist.
McKeist, maybe it was McKeist.
I was going to call him Machete. So McKeist, the plastic that his body was made out of was different than the plastic that his legs and his arms were made out of, and his arms and legs would change colors.
You would find
degrade a little.
The coloration would change.
Yeah. So I saw some pictures with that. He looks really funny because he looks like. His body is really tan, and then his arms would get kind of grayish, and he looks like his arms are basically dead.
Yeah. And then his legs.
Yeah, his arms and legs are kind of like dead.
Yeah.
So the way the legs and the arms were attached with those ball joints, those would break a lot too. So,
and something about McKeist, if you're a big DC comic fan and you know anything about this comic book, the Warlord, McKeist is actually most of the comic book series he's in. He only has one hand. The other one is actually a spike ball on the end of his hand. So, and they went with the figure with two hands instead of one with the spike ball at the end of it. So,
kind of like the guy from The Hobbit, the ogre guy that shoves the wood in his hand after they cut his hand off. It's kind of gross. Yeah, they're really interesting figures.
And also Mikola, when they added him, he's actually like a werewolf guy.
That's why he's got his fangs.
Yeah, that's why he looks like that's why he's got fangs. But the figure actually just have him in human form instead of werewolf form. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting toy line. I could not find any prices of the sets with the horses or anything. I just didn't see any. But the horses looked kind of cheap to me.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I do like that they tried to flock them,
Yeah.
but it seems like the flocking would just like rub right off, and then
Yeah,
you
so
gotta
there's the few I saw that were loose. Yeah, it had spots
You
on
gotta-
it where you play wear.
and
the
your
flocking.
horse has mange, and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, yeah, these things I like them, but that's just me. So let's. I don't remember these at all.
I don't, and I usually remember a lot of this stuff. And this
Yeah.
is one line I don't remember seeing. And again, this is the first line I think we've actually talked about from Remco.
I think it is. I think it
yeah.
is. The biggest thing to me that these stand out because the heads that are used with the wrestling line, and they look like they're Motu figures, and the Motu they all have these muscles, and they're just all like ripped muscles. But to me, this is what it looks like if you took some wrestlers and you put them in a time machine and sent them back in the past and said, hey, you have to create your own civilization. They wouldn't change clothes. They would wear what they were wearing and just get knives and stuff and attack each other. Yeah. And then this is what you'd end up with.
Yeah, and this, the Warlord, kind of came about, in that time in the 70s where Conan the Barbarian was part of, and then Tarzan was kind of being thought about in that, in that time frame. They kind of influenced this character. And then he was actually a Vietnam veteran who was an airplane pilot, and he inadvertently steers his plane through the Earth's crust to a brand new lost world, which is the world that he gets into. The guy, the artist and writer of the book started out with the comic book, and he did it all the way through, I think, issue number 52, was a longtime Green Arrow artist, Mike Grell. So if you're a big DC comic fan, you probably know this. You recognize that name and as a Green Arrow artist. But he was on with the book all the way. He did the artistic stuff through issue 52 in 1982. And then his writing duties actually ended with with issue number 71 in 1983. So he had a big doing with this Warlord character. So, Andrew, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Now talk.
So
we've done this 50 times already.
It's 51. I just
51.
I forgot I muted myself. So we've ranked all these toys, so many toys, and now we need to rank these guys. ToyRewindPodcast.com. You can check out our toy rankings, where we keep all of them, not just this one, but all of them. And Michael, we start with you.
Let me see. I think these are pretty cool pieces. I think let's put them in my rankings. They're actually in the top 10. I'm going to place them at number 7 there under Thundercats.
Number 7. Yeah. John?
That's what I said.
And John said 7.
Is that number 7? Is that number 7?
Right.
See, I'm going
right under Thundercats.
I'm actually going number 8. I'm pushing Big Wheels down, but that's just because of my love for Raggedy Ann.
Raggedy Ann and
my Raggedy Ann.
We're under Thundercats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at these and just found they'd go great with the Thundercats ones.
These would be great with Thundercats, Silverhawks, obviously Motu. They're made for Motu. What's the other one I'm missing? Brave Star. Yeah. So yeah, these would fit great with any of those. So I know we didn't quite rank some of those other ones quite as high as we should have, but that last ranking group was a tough ranking group. There was a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah,
on the
we had
first
a lot
32.
that first.
So,
and those that are new to us, that are listening to us maybe for the first time,
Yeah.
what we'll do is we'll get through 32 more lines, and then we'll rank them, and then we'll put them out on social media, and people vote for it, and we narrow it down to the number one.
The number one
one toy in that group. So,
I guess I need to figure out a way that I can put up how that other one went, basically how the other bracket went down, because it started with 32 lines, including Turtles and Legos and Motu and Star Wars, a lot of big
Ghostbusters
toy lines, the real Ghostbusters, a lot of real good toy lines, and it came down to the Turtles, the TMNT 1988 to 97 line from Playmates that won it all. So I still haven't done my show off of all mine because I'm still missing a Foot Clan, a Foot Soldier. So once I get that one, I'm going to show all these off. I got a bunch of them over here. But yeah, so yeah, go check
Transformers was part of that too. Transformers was.
Oh yeah. Transformers. The G1 line was in there.
G1 line.
So this line is a lot more information with these. What's going to end up in this 32. I'm really worried about the NES kind of destroying everybody on this, because that's like, it's kind of cheating. Yeah, it's kind of cheating there. But with NES, there's a lot of good ones, like the 3-inch GI Joe line, Hot Wheels, the DC Superpower Collection, Thundercats, a Raggedy Ann and Andy.
There's some good lines in this group that we're working on right now. Yeah,
we have a lot, and we've got the next couple months are going to be fun with some of the ones that we've got lined up. So, with that, if there is a toy line that you want to know more information about that came out in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, or something like that, send us a message. We'd love to hear about it and see what else we could do that you might be interested in hearing more about. You send us a toy line, we talk about it, we figure out where we can do it. We give it to Michael, and he gives us all kinds of history on it, so we can all learn a little bit. With that, Michael, you want to talk about that DATS show?
Yeah, this past weekend I went back to the DATS, which is the Dusty Attic Toy Show in Garland. It was kind of slow this time around because everybody's getting ready for school. I think this was tax-free weekend. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were doing some final summertime stuff and spending the extra money they had on school supplies and stuff like that. So it was kind of slow, but we did have some guests show up. We had the Ninja Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we had Mikey and Ralph and Donatello and Leonardo all show up, and I got my picture taken with them. So
Turtle with the Turtles,
yeah. Yep. So anyway, had a good time like usually. I think we'll be back in October. It's every second Sunday of each month, and I can make it about every other month. Is what my schedule is. But it's pretty cool. We got toy show and all kinds of things. I saw, we got everything from Star Wars to G.I. Joe to Hot Wheels, other die-cast stuff. Like I've got mostly die-cast, but just anything you want, Migos, characters, Funko, any kind of Funko type stuff is there too. Mostly the pops, but there was some sodas and stuff there. Yeah. But yeah, there's all kinds of things. On a really good show, you can find, most of the vendors are there. You can find a lot of good stuff there.
I'm hoping to make it next time. I missed this because I missed being there. I wanted to see the turtles. I missed it, but I got to go find some of these other turtle figures, and I'm hoping to be able to find some there. I wish I looked when we were there.
And the guys that put on, Randy and Charlie, we talked to them on our showcase, collector showcase, a couple weeks ago. Randy told me that the October show would be a cosplay type show too. So there's going to be, I guess October is getting close to Halloween. So that's what their theme is. So yeah, it's really pretty cool. I was interested in seeing. There was one lady dressed up like April O'Neil that showed up to take pictures with the turtles on Sunday. And then she ended up sticking around for more pictures than.
And you didn't get a picture of all of them? You didn't get a picture of all 5 of them together?
No, I didn't get a picture with her with them, but yeah.
Hey, John, I got an idea. Let's go to the October one and we can cosplay as each other. I'd cosplay as Michael, but then I have to shave my beard. I don't want to do that.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
So I can cosplay as you.
Him.
So Michael can be himself. We can cosplay as each other.
I'll just grow a beard and be.
So I guess the question is if we were to go cosplay, what would you want? What would you do?
I don't know. Maybe
that's
Batman.
a good question for another episode.
We'll do that for another episode. Well, with that, John, how can people find us?
All right. So check out our website, toyrewindpodcast.com. Email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Look us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. It's all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. And, of course, check out our podcast bingo at podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind. And then keep your ears open for any collector showcases as we come up with them, or the toy box showcases as we do those. So,
yeah, and when you're looking for something, if you're looking for something just fun to listen to, make sure you check out Geek Together, who we partner with on the collector showcases. We do that on their Twitch channel and on our Twitch channel and YouTube and all the different places. So, if you also, since we're talking about the collector showcase, if you want to watch the one with Randy and Charlie, go back and check it. It's on YouTube, so you can see that and get more information about the Dad Show. But also every Saturday night, or most Saturday nights, I don't want to say every Saturday, most Saturday nights you can catch Geek Together over on their Twitch channel. And if you want to find more information about that, just go to any social media and type in Geek Together. You'll find it. Along with that, you can find us also over at crossthestreamsmedia.com for links to all of the social, anything that John talked about, that'll all get added in there. You can find that there and on our website. You can also listen to all of our episodes along with checking out all the merch that you can get, any of our Toy Rewind merch. And then you can also leave us a review. Speaking of leaving reviews, you can do it on the Cross the Streams Media website, or you can do it over on Apple with iTunes. We'd love for you to leave us a review. It helps people find us, and it's just great for us. It doesn't cost you anything. Just tell us what you think, and then with anything that we share, if you share it, you retweet it, anything like that, it just helps us out. And liking it, anything like that, doesn't cost you anything. Just kind of fun for you to do, and it helps us out, especially if you like it and you want to like it. So
that reminds me of Alex's saying it's free for you and priceless for us.
Right. Yes. Actually, I bet between that and what Sully says, that's kind of where I came up. Yeah, it's free. It's free. It helps us. Whatever. Yeah. While you're over on the CTS website, be sure to check out some of our partner podcasts that are on the CTS network, also including the Dorksmen, who we're good friends. They've helped us out a lot here. The STS guys, they've been on. We've had a lot of fun with those guys. Secondary Heroes. We are going to have Alex on soon from Secondary Heroes. We're going to talk about some Back to the Future toys because I am destined to find a Back to the Future toy he does not have. So check those guys out. 3 Beers and a Mic, The Movie Gap, the Dan Aykroyd podcast, the Burt Reynolds and Charles Bronson podcast, Front Row Negative, The Art of the Boar, and Beering Ain't Easy. All of those guys. So some of those guys I haven't listened to. I'm very interested in the Dan Aykroyd podcast and the Burt Reynolds and Charles Bronson podcast. I don't know what these are, to be honest. So I'm very interested to give them a listen and see what those guys are talking about. So you can catch all those on crossstreammedia.com. And we're really excited about being part of the new network. We're going to branch out. see what we can learn. We've got new stuff coming, including the voice messages that people can send us on the website there. So we'll be getting that set up soon. So follow us on social, and you can get more information about that. And when we have that ready. So, yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too.
I am. Yeah.
There'll be a lot of stuff that we can branch out and make.
Pretty cool.
We can make year 2 our best year until we get to year 3, which will be a whole year. We'll get there. All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope. I want to thank Cross of Streams Media for inviting us and having us on to join them. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to be like officially in a network, like an actual official network that's a actual podcast network. Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots of fun and it's great. So yeah, totally excited about that. Well then, this is Toy Rewind. We just talked about the Lost World of the Warlord. I hadn't even forgot what it was. I already forgot about it. Yeah, so
from Remco in 1982.
Yeah, see, that's what me and John have to remember, those things, so that we can do better on the next game whenever we have one of those. So, all right. Well, I guess on behalf of the Brothers Newland here at the Toy Rewind podcast, play on.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.